Okay, well, this is Ronan Hart and Deborah Hendricks with the Samuel Proctor Oral History Program. Today we're at the Village in Gainesville, Florida. It's about 10 a.m. on July 17th, 2025, and I'm speaking with Jean Truitt for the Art of Aging Oral History Project. Ms. Truitt, do you want to start by telling us your name and telling us how you spell it?
Okay, my name is Jean Truitt, and I spell it Jean. Last name Truitt is Truitt.
T-T, okay, two T's. So where were you born and when?
Cleveland, Ohio, July 14th, 1943.
So what do you remember about growing up in Cleveland?
Lots and lots of cousins, lots of aunts and uncles. It was a really close-knit family. Like Sunday afternoon, you always went over to our aunts and uncles' house, all the cousins. So I grew up really knowing my mom's side of the family. My dad, his parents had already died when they got married, so I never really have any grandparents. So it was great. But then my dad decided he was sick of the Ohio winters, so he decided he wanted to move to Florida. So he had been a real sick kid. It was before they had penicillin and sulfa drugs, and so his family used to send him to Florida to an uncle he had. The bad weather, good weather they thought would help him, and it did. So he always loved Florida. So he was like 40 years old. My mom was pregnant. They already had 3 kids. And he said, we're moving to Florida. And they did. Went down there and bought a house, and he got into law school at the University of Florida.
Nice.
He had started, but then dropped out during the Depression. So that's how I ended up in Florida.
How old were you when you left Cleveland?
10.
Okay. So if you had so much family in Cleveland, do you know if your family had lived in Cleveland for a long time? Did your family have a lot of roots?
They're still all there.
Okay.
I remember when they used to come down to visit my mom and dad, that was like paradise to them. None of them had ever been to Florida. Back then, it cost a fortune to fly on an airplane.
Oh, yeah.
And they all didn't have the means to do it, but they all managed to get down there. So we got to meet them that way, because I kind of forgot them after a while.
Yeah.
In fact, one of my cousins just came down here. She's a year older than me, to visit, because she said she hadn't seen me in so long. She just took a trip down, and it was really nice.
Yeah. When you live in a nice place like Florida, everyone wants to come visit.
Yeah.
So that was the first move of a lot of moves in your life. How did that feel as a kid? How did you adjust to Florida?
Well, I wasn't. I adjusted to Florida fine. It was different because, as I said, everybody was Catholic. I didn't know anybody else. I didn't know anybody was anything else. So I got introduced. They didn't even have a Catholic church in Gainesville back then. So, and my dad had a totally different. I can remember waking up in the morning, and he was studying. I remember the dining room table. He was always sitting there, and we would go out and get donuts with it, like 5 o'clock in the morning, him and me, when they were just coming out of the oven, I guess. So that's a pleasant memory. So anyway, he graduated and practiced law here all that time and became a judge somewhere along the line.
Oh, wow. Did you find a Catholic church somewhere outside of town that you went to? Or did your family stop
They had
going?
a beginning of one, St. Patrick's. So and my dad and my mom were really involved in getting that started. I remember Dad even collecting the money after church. He was a convert, and I think those are different than most Catholic people.
Yeah.
They're more vested, I think. I hadn't thought about that in a long time.
Yeah. Did you convert for your mom?
Well, they were a very different couple, too. He was very well-to-do, and she was an Irish immigrant. So it was really different,
Wow.
And
Do you know how they met?
roller skating rink.
Oh, that's great.
I thought it was pretty neat.
Yeah. So you mentioned siblings. Are you the oldest or in the middle?
No, I have a sister 2 years older, Bonnie, and then me, and then I have a brother 2 years younger. He lives here in Keystone, and then I have a younger brother is 10 years younger.
Oh, wow.
He lives in Arlington, Virginia, half-time and half-time down here. So I see a lot of him. And we're all really pretty close, which is nice.
Did you get along when you were younger, too?
Probably as good as most people. I remember I was always, my sister said I was always biting people, scratching them, and I don't know if that's true.
That's the kind of thing older siblings make that up.
I was always the feisty one.
Yeah. What did you like to do in Gainesville as a kid? What do you remember?
When I was
it?
a kid,
Yeah.
I was always, it was before they had Title 20. That was when girls were allowed to be in sports. Can you believe that? They didn't have girls' sports. But I always was in the neighborhood with the boys playing all the games. So I was always real athletic and always wanted to win the game.
Yeah.
So I was always involved.
Yeah. It's a big change from a big city in Cleveland to, Gainesville's kind of.
Yeah, but I was so little
rural.
then, you know, I don't really remember too much about it except the family that was there.
Did you like kind of being out in the country a little bit, having that kind of open space?
I don't even think that felt like it was a country. It was just another little city, you know. It was just that, but, you know, I have to admire my mom and dad, how involved they got in the city, you know. Figure it was all brand new. And everything in the neighborhood was new. And I remember the people that lived across the street were our first friends. In fact, she was here at the village, she just died a few years ago. So they got involved in their little street all the time, very involved. So I kind of think I learned that from them, you know, is you got to make your home where it is, because they definitely did.
Yeah. Did you know your grandparents well? You mentioned them a little bit. No,
because I had a grandmother, but she came out to visit us once, but she was pretty elderly. And Mom's dad, nobody really knew what happened. It was a Gallagher. And he left my mom when I think she was only, her mom, when she was maybe 3 months old. She never knew her dad. And she had two sisters. And I remember one time I was talking to him about this. And they were like, they never wanted to see him again, blah, blah, blah. And my mom said, I just wanted to talk to him to find out what happened. But she was just, so we don't know.
Yeah.
John Gallagher, Irish.
Did you hear many stories in your family, like family stories that would be handed down? Anything like that?
About him or?
Yeah, about him.
No, right now I'm hearing more about them because my kids and most of my grandkids too are really into genealogy, and I even did this, what is it called when you?
Like a 23andMe.
DNA.
Yeah.
I just did the DNA thing. As I remember, to find out if there's no surprises about anything. I was sort of disappointed, actually. I thought it was going to be a big deal thing. But they know more about history. Every once in a while I get a picture. Well, that's your great-great-grandmother. She lived over here, and this one. They're more into, I was never really into it like they are, but they're just fascinated with it.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice to see them do that.
Yeah. Well, hopefully this interview will be good for them too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So what was school like for you? Did you like school?
Here? Yeah, I did. I liked it a lot. I was always was contributing. I remember they finally let girls couldn't be on the patrol. Remember back in the day they had this, you wore a badge, and I was always wanted to have a badge, but they'd let you guard the steps if you were a girl. But so I'm saying this a lot. I think you grew up with a lot of girl-boy things where, so girls kind of came into it after I was getting older. So anyway, when they passed Title 20, girls started to be involved in sports again. The first time they ever had a girls, did you know this? They ever had a girls sports game?
I guess I didn't. I didn't know that. I hadn't really thought about that.
It's really crummy.
Yeah.
I don't think it was crummy then. I look back at it now, and I think it is. But women are still secondary, in many ways.
What kind of expectations did you feel about, after school, if you would go and get an education, or were you expected to just start a family?
Well, all my family, my mom had never been to college, but my dad had, of course. Mm-hmm. That was back then really unusual for somebody his age. I think all of us expected to go to college, but what happened is I got married after 2 years of college and never went back until way late. My kids were older. Then I went back and got my bachelor's and my master's in postgraduate, just kept going. But I think most of my friends, got married, had did it different. They got all their education. They got married and had kids. I did it reverse.
Yeah.
So all that time we were living all over the place. So it was a transfer nightmare, trying to transfer this credit to that credit.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
But I did it, so.
Yeah. So I guess that first experience with college, the first year or two that you had, what can you tell me about that?
University of Florida.
Great.
I thought it was really hard because I never thought about studying, I don't think. And they had classes like C courses, they called them. And there was like hundreds of kids in there, and I always did a lot better in a classroom, than it was personal. So I really pretty much flunked out. I think when I left, I probably would have done very well, but when I got back in, I was older, and I found a sponsor, education. He was wonderful. They built I forget his name now, they built a big skyscraper parking place over at College of Education where he was from. And he was really a good sponsor, so did a lot of stuff with him. He had a bunch of kids he took care of, we went on trips together, and I was like their intern. So it was, I forgot all about that. It's funny you're thinking about that.
Yeah, that's what we're here for. Do you have any other memories of being at UF, and was that in the early 60s? Mm-hmm.
I was in a sorority, and I don't think I ever was in an organization. I wasn't the president of it. That was the first one. I was the president of the class, that was coming in.
Oh, wow.
It was neat, but big. It's such a big school.
Yeah.
I think if I were to go and start it all over, I'd go to a little school, where everybody would know your name and I would pick it out. But I felt really lucky to get to go because it was a lot back when my parents had kids in college. And back then I remembered it was only like $13 for one course, one credit. Now it's I haven't imagined. But it was affordable to people. So I remember my dad saying, you can either live in the dorm or join the sorority. So my sister did the dorm and I did the sorority.
Yeah. So do you remember what sorority?
Oh yeah, Phi Mu. My brothers called it Phi Mu, Pugh, Pugh. They were always teasing me.
Yeah. So
they still do.
Yeah. Yeah. The 60s at UF was kind of a crazy time with the civil rights movement and integration and stuff. Do you have a lot of memories about that kind of thing?
No, I don't at all remember any problem there. I only remember it when my husband was going there many years ago. I think I shared that with you the other day, how they told him not to wear their uniforms. It was right after Vietnam. They didn't want anything to do with it. That's when I remember all the strife against them.
Yeah.
That was what people were saying. The war was horrible, and indeed it was.
Yeah. So you met your husband while you were at UF?
Mm-hmm. He was my sister's boyfriend. Was his best friend. Mm-hmm. So that's how I met him.
Yeah. What did you like about him at the time?
He was smart. He was a Phi Beta Kappa, and he was smart in everything he did. But he was also gifted. He ended up being a pilot, first in the military, a fighter pilot, and when he graduated, he went to OTS. So in the military, and then when he retired, he became an airline pilot. So it was totally different, but he was always Mensa. Have you ever heard of that? I remember when he got into Mensa. He was an unusual guy. His dad was a pilot, so I think that's why he wanted to do that.
Yeah. What was, I guess, your courtship like? What kind of dates did you go on? Quick?
I met him like in June or somewhere in the spring. Then he went off to officer training, and then when he got back, we got married at Christmas. Mm-hmm. didn't seem quick to me then, but I certainly was.
So he enlisted, right? Or was he drafted?
No, he was not enlisted. He went to officer training.
Okay.
Well, you have to have a degree to do that.
Okay.
They call them 90-day wonders. They went for 90 days and they come out an officer.
Yeah. So did you know he was planning to leave and go off like that when you
No.
got serious? Okay. That was a surprise.
I think I just always went with the flow.
Yeah. What was that? I mean, did you go with the flow, or was it kind of an unpleasant surprise when, the man that
I
you
don't
were
remember it
getting
being
serious
unpleasant.
with?
I just remember it's the way it was.
Yeah. So did you go with him to officer training school?
Oh, no. No.
Okay.
You can't. I wasn't married to him. That's always
Okay.
the thing. They still do that kind of thing. All the military, all 4 branches. If you're a graduate from a college and you want to go in, that's what you do. So I remember my grandson just was doing that with the Marines, but then he decided he broke his ankle and had some real problems there. So he said he wasn't going to do it anymore. So thank God he came home. I was thrilled.
Oh, yeah.
And that was when the Marines were out there fighting us. I didn't think he wanted to be doing that. It's still going on.
Yeah. So, how long were you dating him before you got married?
My husband?
Yeah, your husband.
Well, I figure I met him in April. We got married in December,
Wow.
same year.
Yeah.
It lasted a long time. I was married for 26 years. So, had the 2 kids. But we traveled all the time. We moved a lot.
Yeah. How did that start? Where was the first move that you made together?
He was at Moody Air Force Base in pilot training. That was our first one.
Where's Moody?
It's Valdosta, Georgia.
Okay. How did you like it there?
I actually loved it. We were just there a year, and you met everybody. You would get real close to and it was a trailer park right outside the base, and everybody in there had a brand new trailer. This guy that got smart that had the land, I'm sure, and so we all had it. I thought it was a wonderful, beautiful trailer, and my neighbors all had them too, and they were all pilot training class, so we were all knew each other well. I still know them. Some of them, they're still alive.
Yeah. So was there a lot of community and camaraderie between all those families?
Military's like that.
Yeah.
I think it was to us.
Yeah.
No matter where you went, you always had somebody looking after you. They call them sponsors. And it was great. They helped you every way they could, even overseas. They'd lend a car to you. I keep getting messages on this. They did everything to make you comfortable, and I participated in that a lot. They have the same kind of thing here. It's called an ambassador program in the village, where somebody kind of looks after you, helps you get involved in things.
Yeah. Do you remember? So there was an ambassador who helped you out
Here.
when you started?
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, back in.
Oh yeah,
back in your
sponsor.
military family.
Absolutely.
A sponsor. Do you remember their name? Or anything
Oh
about
no, I had so many. Figure how many we moved
yeah.
23 times.
Every new place, yeah.
But they were always helpful.
Yeah. So after Valdosta, what were some of the places that you lived in?
We graduated, and then where did we go? Tyndall Air Force Base. It was training for they assign you a airplane after you graduate, so we had to train in that. And then he had 2 tours. He had one in Vietnam, he had one in Korea. So he was gone a lot when the kids were growing up. So it was kind of, you get used to that because everybody around you, same thing. A whole squadron would leave. You'd have all those wives to play bridge with and, be around. And we all usually lived in neighborhoods that were right there. So we knew each other.
So how old were you when you had your first kid?
20.
Okay.
Back then, that wasn't even young. That was like normal. Now it's not, but.
What was that child's name?
Oh, Jana, Jana.
Yeah. What was it like to, be a mom kind of far from home?
Oh, I loved it. I think having my kids was my favorite thing I ever did. I liked being a mom.
Yeah.
I still do.
So how many kids? Was it?
Just the 2.
Just the 2, yeah. What was it like moving them all around to these different places?
Well, I was talking to them about lately because my grandson wanted to be a Marine, and they said, "Oh, Mom, we liked it." And I said, "You didn't like it when we were moving, because it was uprooting them."
Yeah.
But they both learned quickly how to make friends again, and I give them a compliment for that. In fact, I had my kids gave a really big 80th birthday party for me, and they did that. They wrote speeches about it, and it was really something. And one of the things Blake remarked on was, you wanted us to be friends with everybody, so I had to go borrow sugar from the people who lived on each side of us, just so I learned how to make friends. I didn't remember that at all.
Yeah.
But they did, and they're like that now, and they still, amazingly enough, have a lot of friends from when they were little, and even all college, which is a long time, because they're both in their 60s now. Mm-hmm. So they've maintained friendships, which I think is great.
Yeah. Do any experiences really stick out from that part of your life, like early
Stick
motherhood?
out? All the losses, prisoners of war in Vietnam, friends of ours that got killed. I got real involved in that. I think I spoke to you about that with the bracelets. We all had bracelets we wore with a prisoner's name on them. And then when they got released or died, you gave it back to them. But I got, actually, mine died, but I sent it to his brother, the bracelet. Mm-hmm. So it was pretty neat. But,
yeah. So how long was your husband's tour in Vietnam?
well, it's supposed to be a year, but what he did, I didn't really remember it too much then. For every mission they flew over North Vietnam, they got a month off. So he dared himself, which is not smart, I don't think, because, a lot of people got captured.
Yeah.
But he got home in 9 months instead of 12, which was pretty neat.
Yeah. Yeah. Was that a difficult 9 months then for you?
Oh, no, it wasn't, because, of course I hated it, but for not having him there, but I stayed in the community where I was at the base. It was Alamogordo, New Mexico, Holloman Air Force Base. And everybody around me, his husband was gone too. So, we had each other, and our kids were little. So you got really close. Except some of them, husbands got captured and killed, and so you had that to deal with too. I got used to losing people pretty young.
Yeah, that's hard.
But somehow it never occurred to me that I would lose him. I guess you just have this, try to protect yourself.
Yeah, if that's what it takes.
Numb yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you have a favorite place that you were stationed?
I think Panama.
Oh, wow.
I love that. It had everything you needed. The Canal Zone was just a great place to live. We had beautiful schools for the kids. They had great sports activities. I had all kinds of things I was doing. So we were busy and happy. But I can't say I didn't like all of them pretty much, and we had plenty of them. I was lucky that most of the time we thought it was going to be a good experience, and it was.
Yeah. So what was so special about Panama? What was, different about it?
What was special about it? The weather, for one thing, and the way they were. They had the school system. Well, let me give you an example. The kids would get up and go to school. They took a bus to them, and then they would bring them all home for lunch. And Raleigh used to come home for lunch too. They'd have like siesta, and then they go back. It was just a totally different way to live.
Yeah.
And we took advantage of traveling all around there too. And again, we lived on base, which is unusual for us. So all your neighbors were, right there. You had the same furniture, everybody's issue, so it was fun to decorate and figure out what to do with what you had. Mm-hmm. I liked it a lot.
You said you traveled around, you mean other places in like Latin America?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we did. The first 2 years, or 1 year we were there, we lived on one side of the canal, and then we moved to the other side, Albrook Air Force Base. My husband became a think it was called an aide or something to the general. So we got to travel with him. So we went all over the place. It was really neat. So that was good too. So we were just there 3 years, quick 3 years. And then to Minot Air Force. Imagine going from Panama to Minot Air Force Base, all year summer, then all year winter.
Yeah. Where is Mina?
North Dakota.
Oh, wow.
About as far up as you can get.
Yeah.
So people kept saying, "What did you do wrong?" But actually, it was good for him. You know, he was flying an airplane he wanted to fly again, but man, getting used to they would give you briefings on what to bring and what to do. And I mean, this is a winter coat. This is not. This is the kind of clothes you need. We even had to plug in our cars in the garage to keep the car warm enough. And they had big briefings on how to live up there because it was really something.
Big difference.
But we did.
Yeah. Did you like that? The cold and all
Well, I
that?
got used to it.
Yeah, it's you have
Like
to.
I said, it was the right clothes. You just learned, what to wear. If you dressed properly and you took, you did what they told you to do, you did fine. And we did.
Did the kids like it? They started skiing?
I think they really did. They both did. Janet even had a horse there. Can you imagine having that kind of climate?
That's awesome.
Both my kids love horses. Blake even plays polo today. He still does. That's pretty unusual for somebody that's his age, but he does really well. Jana rode horses all over Panama. We were real involved in the stables, and she did real well. Lots and lots of blue ribbons. And she still they both love horses.
How did they get introduced to that? Did you ride horses?
No, I always loved to have one, but only rich people had horses when I was growing up. But in the military, it wasn't expensive, I don't know what. So she had a couple of different horses. So we spent a lot of time watching her ride and watching Blake play baseball. So a lot of the years, that's what I was doing, sitting in the grandstand with the kids, watching them do something.
Yeah. So when we talked before, talking about the the POW bracelet campaign, you said you were like the head of some aspect of it.
Well, for Florida, yeah.
Okay, for Florida.
So and we went all over and sold them and we would go to the mall and have a table, and sell them. They were pretty popular. It was easy to do, and it gave people something they could do to support the troops.
Yeah. How did you come to kind of that leadership position, and how did you like it?
Well, being it was at a university, the only person there that we had any connection with military was someone that had the most rank that was going to school there. So she's the one that introduced me to it, his wife. But I was really more interested than anyone. Whatever I've known this about myself for a long time. Whenever I get interested in it, I want to own it.
Oh, yeah.
So I really spent some time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what other kinds of interests did you have in this time that you really want to own?
Decorating. I always loved decorating. And so even when we lived in Panama, people would ask me to help them with their houses, to decorate their houses. So I would, and the only payment I would take is they had to send me dinner home.
Yeah.
So that's what they did. So I did a lot of that. And even when I had a business of my own, years ago, part of the things we did is we had offices all over. So I would find the offices for my employee assistance program and then decorate them, go out and buy the furniture for them. And I still love decorating.
So when did you decide that you wanted to go back to school?
I'm trying to think. I think because one of our sponsors was going, the sponsor we had, and it was in North Dakota. And what else was there to do? It was so cold. And she drove into, from the base into town. And so I just admired her so much. So she started talking about it, and I went and registered and got in. And that's how it started.
What was the name of that school in North Dakota?
Minot State College.
And you kind of were able to pick up where you left off, studying?
Yeah,
social
I
work?
was able, they were so helpful matching up all kinds of credits, which is hard to do because it was, it was a long way away from where I went to school. But they did fine, and that's where I got my bachelor's degree, was mine on.
Yeah. Did you find that rewarding, being
Oh,
back
of
in
course.
school?
I always thought I was the only one around that didn't have a degree, but I always thought I couldn't put that on my applications to anything, that I went to college. I thought that was going to be really neat, that I
Yeah.
had a college degree.
Yeah. Well, you didn't stop at your bachelor's
No,
degree, did
no.
you?
Then I started part-time to get my master's. It was another friend that encouraged me. She had hers, so she really was helpful. And that was from Virginia Commonwealth. And I didn't even go to school down there. Never even set foot on the campus. It was a program from right outside of Washington, D.C. that you could go to. They had campuses there, and so that's how I got my degree. And then, interned, because you had to do a lot of interning for your master's in social work, so I did all that there.
Mm-hmm. What kinds of places did you intern with?
Intern with?
Yeah.
It was Fort Belvoir, Virginia Army, because I wanted to come out as a specialist, in military, because that's where my background was. So that's what I did. And then when I graduated, they offered me a job there. So that was pretty neat. So I went to work right after graduation at Army Community Services.
Okay. What does that kind of work look like? What were you doing?
Well, they had like 12 different programs for families. It was all family support for families. And I did the family advocacy group, and that was the one. If there was anybody who was experiencing physical abuse, which there was a lot in the military, you would talk to them and figure out what to do to help them and how to make all that work. So we started some good programs to help soldiers, not hit. So it sounds so simple, but it was a lot more complicated than that. That was my program out of the 12, but they had all kinds of things they did. I mean, it was just remarkable.
Yeah.
So
That's pretty high stakes, making like a intervention like that to try and stop those situations.
I know. I remember my supervisor from graduate school said, they're asking you to do way too much for a brand new student. I just did it.
Yeah.
And then I even had military people that were interning under me, which she thought that was like outrageous, but we did it.
Yeah. What did you like about that kind of work?
What did I like about it? Well, actually, I loved it. I think just knowing you could help somebody, They always said you only went into social work to help yourself or the person you loved, and I always thought that was really true. I thought it was nice to be able to help people. And I started programs where we were working with all the different parts of the Army there too. So you would go in and teach workshops to them about all kinds of different things, how to be after you retired, how to involve yourself in life. So many times military people retire and they never get another job, and they usually die younger. So if you had something else you wanted to do and train for, it was much better. So we started programs like that, like what are you going to do next? So I liked all that. I like starting brand new things.
Yeah.
They can't get buried in anything else because nobody else ever did it.
Okay, be a pioneer.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was good though.
That's exciting. So, you mentioned that you studied gerontology. Was that part of the master's degree, or did that come later?
No, it came later. I was just always so interested in older people, always. So I started dabbling at it a little. And then when I had my business, it started with just one program, employee assistance. And then we started managing their benefits because they were spending so much money in their companies. They asked us to do that. So we started that. But then I wanted the gerontology. We started that. Nobody else had done that. People thought I did that for profit, but I didn't. It was just took off like crazy because nobody had a program. So we would go in and do referrals just like we would for the people that were working, but we did this for requests of families that wanted us to take a look at mom and dad to figure out what's wrong and what we can do to fix it. So it was good. We involved the families and their kids, and I love that. And it took off. It's really done well. Still, the company is still in existence. So.
Okay, I guess we skipped that. You started a company before you went.
I started that division. The Employee Assistance Program, was already there. I just interviewed for the job when I graduated. It was in Elizabeth, New Jersey, because that's where we lived then. That was when my husband was flying for airlines. And so it just grew out of that one. That was the last one I did. Because I was interested, I remember taking classes. The first one was who gets mom's something dishes, or something. It was a cute title. I can't remember exactly how it went. Because I started, every class I went to, I just loved. So it was just, and there were workshops, it wasn't like at school. So that's how it started.
Yeah.
And then it took off because our Employee Assistance Program said, I want to buy that part of, I want to extend and make more difference with our older people. Because back then, they didn't have anything like helping elders like they do now.
Yeah. Where do you think that interest in older people came from for you? Was it since you were a kid?
I don't know. You're making me think a lot.
Sorry.
That's okay. I don't know. I think I always felt like we didn't do anything for them, like we threw them out. You look at history, remember even in Alaska, they just put them on a boat, sent them off to sea. I mean, we never honored our elders the way I thought we should. It's in many ways not that much better now. I see that here at the village. I see families, people that live here, they never see their family at all. And then I see families like mine who, are there every minute, and they live far away too. So I've always been told that my family's unusual, but I guess it is. I didn't think it that way, but I noticed that, how could they just leave them here? In the same way they did. I remember I had this picture when I wrote a paper in college, I forget which place, and it had a picture of a dumpster or the trash going out, and there was a lady sitting in her wheelchair in the trash, and that was, I put it on the face of my paper. So anyway, I think I just always thought we should change that. And look at all the programs we have now too. There's many wonderful ones.
So did having that background change how you thought about your own retirement and when you were getting those?
Well, I had real helpful too. My youngest brother was always, I don't know, we were always really close growing up, even though he was much younger. And he's the one that told me about the village, because I was getting wobbly, I didn't realize how wobbly I was getting because we were, hunkered down those years. Yeah. And then I thought, gosh, the only place exercise I get, I could only go around the circle where I lived. And so I thought, this would be good. So I really came to the village earlier than I needed to, which I think everybody should do. Then you plan it. You're not, quote, dumped here. Because I always tell people that tell me that, I say, well, that was a decision you made out of indecision. They were just trying to help you. It wasn't like, so I still think I do a lot of counseling for free. Yeah. And then they get really upset about it. I say, well, you want to just move somewhere else. You don't have to live here. I mean, if you don't think it's a great place to live, go still. But I've seen a lot of attitudes change too when they adjust. So. Yeah. And I think a lot of that it was easier for me because I had lived so many different places that I knew how to do it. I wasn't moving from a house that I lived in for 60 years, all of a sudden having to make a change into a little tiny apartment like this, So I think it's hard for people to do that, you know. So they tend to bring tons of furniture in. They have as much furniture in these little places. They can't move around in there. It's interesting. I've learned more about old people here than any training I ever had. Every day I learn something more.
Yeah, you're doing field work.
Yeah.
Up close research.
I talk to them about it a lot too, because I've gotten to know the administrators a lot, and I'm friendly with them. Because one of them said she wouldn't have coffee with me, and I said, why did she come to my apartment? She said, nobody invites us to their apartment. I said, why not? So she came and brought coffee, and it was so delightful. She was the head person, just easy going. So I think I wasn't scared of them. A lot of the residents are intimidated, but I'm not really at all. Because I sort of think, what would I do if I was in that position? Because there's so much like running a company, except it's a big one, this one. And so how would I put it? You never know from one day to the next what it's going to be like, because you never know who's going to die or what might happen, or accidents happen, falls, you know. How do they know how to hire or train? And they do so really remarkably well. I give it an A+. If I was rating this place, so I'm glad I live here.
Yeah, I think your review probably carries a lot of weight.
It does, which just surprises me. You know, they actually ask me about things, which is a nice compliment. They also know that I'm nuts about the place, so it doesn't hurt anything.
Yeah. What kind of advice would you give to people who are starting to think about the later part of their life after retirement?
Well, take a look at the money.
Yeah.
You know, figure out how you're gonna do it. I remember when I first got divorced. I didn't tell you that. I was like, how do you do this? Because Raleigh always did it all. And I always remember my mom had this envelope. She did it with envelopes. You take envelopes. This is your rent. This is your food. This is money you're going to put away. We used to have Christmas clubs. Remember back then? You don't remember that because you're still a baby. But you put money in there, everything you needed, and that's how you planned. So you knew exactly what you had to do. So I think I would recommend that to people, because I see this every day. They're running out of money. And the first thing I did is I knew I wanted to live in this lake house, not because of the price. I didn't even look at that so much. It's because my mom lived here. And I just thought it was the best place. But people would go to, you know, there's several other buildings, nice ones. But some of them cost 3 times as much as this one, but they didn't look at that. They didn't look at long term. They only said, well, I have a washer and dryer here, but they forgot they're only going to last for 2 years with the money they had. So I've seen a lot of mismanagement, which surprises me, because I had no training in how to do that. I just remembered my mom, you know, how she managed her money. And my dad was not as good at it as she was. You know, she knew how to. So it's just amazing to me how people do their money here, because I don't think I ever was close to it before. You didn't pay attention.
Yeah, that's good advice.
That was a long answer to it.
Well, no, this is the Art of Aging project.
Oh,
and
that's right.
Yeah, so a big part of it is, you know, sharing these thoughts and pieces of advice and wisdom.
I don't know about wisdom so much, but I think the most important thing about aging is to be involved. I mean, I think if you look at statistics, and I'm sure I'm right about this, studies have been done that if you're involved, all those things take care of themselves. It's the people that stay in their apartments and never come out and do anything. Then the isolation of that is what's going to kill them.
Yeah.
They don't, maybe they can't hear as well, so they opt out, or they never were good at being a neighbor. You know, they don't take advantage of the program. So that's why it's so good to have an ambassador. It encourages you to do that. You know, our floor is so unique. I didn't really know it till a long time in it. One of the heads here said, if you want to interview for Ginny's floor, if you want to live on that floor, you got to interview. We're always full because we we make it our business to know everything about everybody. We're friendly with them. If they don't come out, we figure out why and try to encourage them to come to things with us. But some floors don't do that at all. It sort of takes on its own personality. And we know there's 20 units on each floor. We know on this floor, we know everybody's name. We worry about them if they're sick. It makes such a difference to those people. I'm sure our floor is healthier, but that's the number one thing I think is you've got to be involved. Everything else will stay okay if you.
Yeah. What is it like to try and get people to come out of their apartments, come out of their shells?
A lot of encouragement. We had an example is we had this one lady on the floor. Nobody had ever seen her. She'd been here like a year, and I never even saw what she looked like. She never, ever came out. Somebody, you can have food delivered, you can totally isolate. So we decided we're going to do something about it. So her birthday was last week. So we decided we'd do a birthday card. So I went to every single door, and they wrote a note to her, welcome to our neighborhood, and come play Rummy with us. And it worked. Her daughter was here visiting from some far away, I forget what. She couldn't believe we did it, but it worked. Her mom came out. I got to meet her. She came and introduced her to all the people that wrote on the card. I mean, it was the neatest thing to see how she blossomed when she found out she was missed. So her mom even took her to every door of the signature on the cards to meet the people. So that just happened last week.
Yeah.
It was pretty neat.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
It is.
What do you think you're most proud of in your
kids?
Yeah, okay, you said that before. First, in your career, what do you think you're most proud of?
Gosh, which one?
Yeah.
I think almost we had a side thing. We took care of a lot of vets, and they were referrals from our medical center. And we had a lot of trouble treating vets because they were hostile and people were afraid to even go in the room with them. And so I got my boss to play into this. We would just refer from the medical center and come. So I started just that piece, just me, and have him come over and talk to me. So I did a lot of counseling with Vietnam vets. And I think that was the thing I'm most proud of, is helping them get back on their feet. A lot of them had PTSD. We didn't really know what that was back then. Mm-hmm. Now it's a term easily. And then I started working with the VA that way too, going over there and teaching them about this. But that was while I was doing all this other stuff too. So I think I never thought about it, but I would put it on that because it made an incredible difference in their life.
Did you keep up with a lot of those veterans and see what they did?
No. It's nice that you made me think about it.
Yeah. So, and in your personal life, you already said you're most proud of your children.
Oh, yeah.
Being a mother.
I look at them, I just can't believe how neat they are. Yeah. And their kids, too.
Okay, I was going to ask about
really
that.
Great grandkids.
How many grandkids?
Just 3. But they're very personal to me. They were all here. Even though they lived far away, they were at Airbnbs, and they came for a week, all of them. So there were like 16 family members that came for a week. And when my oldest, he's 32, he actually cried when he left. He said, well, I need one more hug, Grandma. And so they're real close to me. When my granddaughter has had a lot of problems with depression, and she walks 10 miles every day because that's what you do with depression. You move, if you get your mood up high enough, and then you see somebody for some medication if you need it. So when she's walking, she actually calls me. So she walks 10 miles every day. Can you imagine? And she goes to Syracuse University, which is a tough school. Yeah. But that's what she does. So that's really, to me, it's real personal, But they're just neat. 3 of them are really neat.
Yeah. So are there any, I guess, lessons or kind of values that you would want, thinking about your grandkids maybe watching this interview later on, or their kids eventually maybe watching this?
I wouldn't want to do a thing different with them. I mean, I think their parents did a remarkable job. They're real close. Jana talks to her kids constantly. Her oldest son lives in Manhattan, and she knows exactly what's going on with those kids' lives. I think that's amazing. But that's the way she is. Her family's so important to her. And she's busy. She's a managing partner of a law firm, so you can imagine what kind of job she has. But she still she'll call me on the way home. I'm her entertainment when she's driving. She likes to fix dinner for them. She said, I always remember you doing that when we get around the table. And I always had candles on the table, not because it was romantic, because Raleigh, my husband, was so critical of their manners, so I tried to dim the lights so he didn't see so much. She never knew that, but she still puts candles on the table. Yeah. Just because it looks nice, but that was the reason. So he didn't see as many mistakes. So, military people are like rigid many times. I didn't want them to do that. So anyway, that's why.
Okay. Well, is there anything else that you wanted to talk about today? Any questions
really.
you wish I asked you?
No, I thought we did so much the other day. I was surprised at all we did. It was totally different than this one even.
Yeah. Well, I mean, was there anything that we talked about yesterday that you want to bring up now that we're actually recording?
No, not really. I think we talked about pretty much. It was nice. You made me think about things. Yeah. I hadn't thought about the part about aging. I probably would have given you more information there.
Yeah, you gave us plenty.
I think. Okay.
Okay. Well, is there anything that you want to show us? Do you have any photographs or anything around your apartment?
I have a lot of stuff here. he actually wrote a book about, and it tells all kinds of things. And it has tons of pictures. That's what I was going to show you.
Okay.
Oh, that's awesome.
Isn't that right? He wrote a book about it. And then they picked it up at the village and did a whole thing here. Let's see, this is the party. That's my daughter. And he wrote this whole book about it, but let me see if pictures in here, you see. This was the party, that's her. This is my sister I was telling you about, the four of us. It's a neat book. And the speeches they said, and my two kids. My son. Here.
Can I show some pictures to the camera?
Oh, sure.
We'll put this in the video, it'll look nice.
Yeah. You were honored by the governor of the Panama Canal
Can you
Zone?
believe that? I forgot to tell you that.
That's cool. Yeah, you should.
And that's something, I never thought it was such a big deal until they made a big deal of it.
Yeah, that is a
It
big
was
deal.
unusual because they had never picked an individual. It was always a group. So I was pretty proud of that.
Yeah.
It was a Pan Canal Public Service Award, but then he honored it.
So does your sister live around here? Or is she near?
She lives in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay. Let's see.
And then the two brothers, I have one in Keystone, the older one, and the younger one's here in also Arlington.
This cake has the Eiffel Tower and some baguettes on it.
Yeah.
You ever been to France? Do you like France?
Yeah. That was one of my dreams, is to go see the Eiffel Tower and go to France. I did. 6 of us went. My girlfriends, we all went together. Spent 2 weeks over there.
How old were you when you went to France?
It wasn't that long ago, maybe 10 years ago.
Okay, so that was really achieving a dream.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Well, I always thought I was French in my first life anyway, being born on Bastille Day. And I've always loved everything French. You can look around and you can see all the toile and all kinds of French things.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Well, thank you so much.
Oh,
This
you're
was really
welcome.
wonderful.
It was fun for me.
Okay, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Okay.